Hey everyone, just thought I'd do a little video, just walk around, get some fresh air, and doing some Japanese listening practice while I'm at it. So right now, they have implemented, it's called like Keikaku Teiden, which is planned power outages, or rolling blackouts, I think is what they're calling them in the States. So what they've done is basically they have divided up Tokyo, or most notably the areas around Tokyo, into a bunch of different regions, and all giving them a number, and then based on your number is what your your blackout plan is. It's a set number of hours per day, certain times. It's only, I think, around 3 to 4 hours a day, but that's going to impact the train system, I believe, in those areas. So today they're supposed to get started on it. I don't think they fully implemented it, because I had a friend who lives in one of the areas where it's supposed to be shut off today, and his power wasn't. He said he had power all day. So I think they just started to do it today, and they'll probably get it fully rolling as the week goes on. The district where I live will not be seeing any blackouts, or at least as of right now, because lucky enough, I live in the same district as the government ward offices, like the central government buildings, basically, for all of Tokyo, are located in the ward that I live. So my place would probably be one of the last to get power shut off. And also the largest, the most important train station probably in Tokyo or possibly Japan is in this ward as well, Shinjuku Station. So they probably try to do anything they could to keep from shutting down that area. And of course the reason they're doing this is because they've lost several of their power plants with the nuclear issue that's going on. And that's something I wanted to talk about real quick. I posted up a link on Facebook for people to read. Hold on. Across the street. And that's like the nuclear fear stuff. I've seen some news reports from the Western news sources, especially like places like BBC. I mean, they are really trying to hype up this nuclear stuff. They're withholding information that they have that would make it seem not as bad as it is, just to make the story better. They're not, what am I trying to say? They're not necessarily adding stuff that isn't there, but they're just not telling you what is there, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so with this nuclear reactor, though, from everything I've read, like, even if it was the worst nuclear reaction meltdown possible for this plant, it would still not be anywhere close to Chernobyl, which is the one everybody keeps talking about for some reason. The other thing you have to keep in mind with Chernobyl, not sure how to pronounce it, I don't speak Russian or whatever Ukrainian dialect the name of that place is, or is in. But anyway, in Chernobyl, only 50 people directly died from that, and around 4,000 over the long term are expected to die. And I say only, I mean, it was a terrible thing. But you have to realize there was a town only 2.5 miles from Chernobyl that was not evacuated. It was not evacuated until over 24 hours after the plant had exploded. Okay? And then the first workers they sent into Chernobyl, these are almost all the people that actually directly died because of that, wore no radiation protective gear. They literally sent these guys in with nothing on. They're wearing overalls and, carpenter's gloves, walking around, exposed nuclear fuel rods, So with all of that, still only 50 people directly died, and 4,000 received radiation poison that in the long term could cause their deaths. But that was also because they were sitting in a town right beside the nuclear power plant and were not evacuated until 24 hours after sitting there being irradiated. basically, or receiving radiation, from the blown up plant. So the plants here in Tokyo, okay, keep in mind that was 2.5 miles that the town was by that was not evacuated. This plant here, there's nobody for 12.5 miles around. They've already been evacuated for 12.5 miles. And if the plant did blow up, they're not going to wait 24 hours. And if they did send people in, they're obviously not going to send people in without radiation protective gear on. And that's besides the fact this plant is completely different in how it operates, and the control rods were put in, so it actually brought the reaction down. Of course, basically just residual like reaction, basically. I guess that's what you could call it. They still have to cool it down. It still produces heat. But yeah, so basically, even if the worst possible case scenario went down, if you took one of those fuel rods and basically threw it out in the yard in front of the plant, it would still not be as bad as Chernobyl. Just because it couldn't be now. It's basically impossible for it to ever be that bad. And also the stuff you're seeing on the news about, now don't get me wrong, I'm sure the plant is worse than what they say. It's governments, they're always like that. So nobody's saying that. I completely believe stuff went way worse than what they're saying. But that's not the issue. The issue is just what is potentially possible. Okay. Then you also see stuff about the radiation being detected from this place. And there, you'll see stuff like, oh, it's 1,000 times normal, greater than the normal background radiation. What you have to understand is almost any radiation is going to be 1,000 times greater than the background radiation of any place. Okay. And so what the readings at the peak readings at the boundary of the plants were 100 times less. Let me repeat that. 100 times less than what you receive for one CT scan at the hospital. Okay, so everybody, let's keep that in mind. But of course, the news doesn't tell you that part. They just say 1,000 times greater radiation levels than normal. And then you hear stuff about them detecting like at 100 miles offshore, and they're moving U.S. Navy ships there. This radiation equipment is extremely sensitive. If I'm not mistaken, they can actually detect when places like China or North Korea do nuclear tests from near about halfway around the world with some of this equipment. So that's doesn't mean anything. And the rate, they're not even sure they can attribute it to the plant because it's so extremely low what they're detecting. So everybody freaking out, or the news trying to freak people out, probably shouldn't. Yes, it could get way worse, but even at its worst, it's not going to be something that wipes out half of Japan or Tokyo or anything like that at all. So I just want to say that. But also, I want to know if you noticed, which I don't know why you would notice because you don't know what it's like normally, but a lot of the businesses here, because of all this power plant stuff, have shut down their main lights. So it looks like a lot of places are closed when they're not. Well, now they're all, stuff is just about, a lot of stuff is getting time to close. But like my normal, kind of right around my neighborhood, which I'm in my neighborhood, just I'm walking around some like streets I usually don't walk around. But I think they've had like bands come around telling everybody like to reduce their power consumption. So a lot of the businesses have turned off their main lights outside. So if you're in Japan and you're looking around thinking places are closed, they probably aren't actually. They probably just have their front lighting turned off. What else? Here's one of the other issues Japan is facing. I haven't read too much in this yet, but something I've known about previously, just for random facts. So they have, of course, other power stations in Japan that are still operational. They have many, obviously. But the weird thing is that after World War II, they brought in Western, basically, power companies to redo Japan's power grid systems. But for whatever reason, I'm sure it's political and to put people in or put money in people's pockets. They went with two power companies that run on two different hertz. So now I might be getting these swapped up, but Eastern Japan was put on a 60 hertz power system, whereas Western Japan was put on a 50 hertz. And you could swap those two, I can't remember, so either way, it doesn't matter. So basically one can't run, well, you can't just send one directly to the other. Now, appliances from both will work. Like, you could go to another place and plug in, I think, with just a basic little cheap converter, if that, and your stuff would usually work fine, like in Western Japan. But to actually send the power through the system, they have to basically change it. But they do actually have converters for it. So, or I've read that they do have 50 to 60 hertz converters, or I guess, I don't know if that would be considered a transformer. I don't think transformers change the hertz, do they? They just step up or down the actual. Anyway, I'm not an electrician or electrical engineer. So yeah, I think they're going to be trying to implement that, but it might just take a while, because obviously that's something they probably are not normally doing at the loads that they need to do it at to keep Tokyo powered. So these blackouts are planned for at least a few weeks now, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this works out. And oh, by the way, my school, because of all this, has basically closed down. I went to school today and signed in. They were open today just to check on everybody that want us to come and sign in, but the whole class is canceled because a lot of the kids, probably, more than half, live in districts that will be getting the power shut down. So if these people came to school, a lot of them will not be able to get home until, extremely late, like 10, 11 at night. It's one of the main districts where people live. The school owns some like apartment houses, basically, or dormitories in this one district. I think they're being shut down from like 4 to or 5, something, till like 10 o'clock at night, from sometime in the afternoon. Forgot exactly what hour. So yeah, a lot of these kids will be getting stuck after school, because school doesn't get out till 5. And then you still have to like get to the train, get all the way home before they shut off the trains. And see, that's the issue. It's not necessarily when you get on the train. It's what time you're getting off the train. It's how far you can get, basically, before everything shuts down on you. Whoops, covering up the camera. I hope I'm not being covering up the camera like the majority of the trip. Oh, can you see this? Yeah, it's really deep. I think this used to be the old Edo Castle. What am I doing? I almost did a Japanese accent for the English word castle. Moat, I think. This is Edogawa Bashi. That's like Edo. Edo is like the Edo period of Japan, like the old word for Tokyo. Gawa means river. Kawa actually means river, but when it's put after a word, the pronunciation changes, because Japanese is crazy. And then Bashi means bridge. It literally means like kind of old Tokyo river bridge. Makes sense, I guess. Okay, so that's the my little walking update for now, and hopefully we'll see you guys later. Peace out.